My name is Ann Wadstedt, and this is my Media Investigation Talk screencast, focusing on the question, how will we know that we have an effective system for reporting sexual assaults? In this presentation, it will mainly focus on reporting methods that can benefit and focus on the victims of these sexual assaults. Before we can focus on the most effective way to report a sexual assault, we must first define what sexual assault means. According to Webster's dictionary, sexual assault is defined as the illegal sexual contact that usually involves force upon a person without consent or is inflicted upon the person who is incapable of giving consent. Now, rape is defined as the unlawful sexual intercourse or any other sexual penetration without consent of the victim. Many people believe that sexual assault is equivalent to rape, whereas that is not the case. Rape is a form of sexual assault, but not all sexual assault is rape. Other forms of sexual assault could be things such as groping or touching someone in an inappropriate place. Essentially, if you're touching another person inappropriately without the consent of that person, it can be considered sexual assault. The main information source for this presentation was taken from a TED Talk entitled "The Reporting System That Sexual Assault Survivors Want." This TED Talk was created to talk about the issues that come along with reporting acts of sexual assault. Its purpose is to show the difference and benefits of using an online secure reporting site versus traditional supporting methods, meaning going to the police or campus police, and its benefits in terms of stopping further sexual assault. Jessica Ladd is a sexual health educator and researcher, a TED Talk fellow, and founder and CEO of Callisto, an online tech nonprofit that was set up to combat and report sexual assault. While their main goal is to report cases of sexual assault, their focus is mainly on the health and well-being of the victim. In terms of reporting, that means that they won't send any information to the proper authorities until certain criteria that has been made by the victim has been met. Jessica Ladd speaks in her TED Talk lecture about how important a system like this is needed, especially with how common sexual assault can be.
1 in 5 women and 1 in 13 men will be sexually assaulted at some point during their college career in the United States. Less than 10% will ever report their assault to their school or to the police. And those who do, on average, wait 11 months to make their report.
90% of offenders are repeat offenders, meaning that if someone sexually assaults another person, it is likely that they will do it again. Of all the sexual assaults that are reported, only 6% serve jail time. That's 6% of the 10% of sexual assaults that are reported to the police. So with there being so many sexual assaults that go unreported, it begs the question, why? The issue mainly having to do with the victim rather than the assailant. The issue with reporting the traditional way is that oftentimes victims' safety and security are at risk. And in the case that the victim does decide to go public with the information of the assault, they are often ostracized or subject to backlash or victim blaming. Victim blaming is when the victim of an assault is held fully or partially responsible for something that had been done to them in the first place. It is unfortunate but a fact of life that when reporting assaults, that the victim could be subject to these kinds of issues that further discourage people from reporting sexual assaults. One of the benefits of using an online reporting service includes a more free reporting service, meaning that you can have a fully documented your experience, and if you decide to take some time before going to the proper authorities, you can, while still having the knowledge of having a well-documented case at your disposal. Using an online service like Callisto, it allows for possibly the most important feature of all, to match you with victim names who also have the same assailant. When it comes to such a sensitive topic like sexual assault, it is essential to know that you are not alone. In a quote from Jessica Ladd's TED Talk, she says, "You see, knowing that you weren't the only one changes everything. It changes the way you frame your own experience. It changes the way you think about your perpetrator. It means that if you do come forward, you'll have somebody else's back and they'll have yours."
System, where if Mike's first victim had come forward, saved her record, entered into the matching system, and named Mike, and Mike's second victim had done the same thing a few months later, they would have matched, and the verified contact information of both survivors would have been sent to the authorities at the same time for investigation and follow-up. If a system like this had existed for Hannah and her peers, it's more likely that they'd have reported, that they'd have been believed, and that Mike would have been kicked off campus, gone to jail, or at least gotten the help that he needed. And if we were able to stop repeat offenders like Mike after just their second assault, following a match, survivors like Hannah would never even be assaulted in the first place. We could prevent 59% of sexual assaults just by stopping repeat perpetrators earlier on.
So with both the data from traditional methods of reporting and new forms of reporting, what is the most effective in terms of a reporting system? Through the presentation, we see that it is more likely that a victim will come forward if they are comfortable with the method of reporting. Safety of the victim and the ability to choose what to do with the information is also important in terms of reporting. In order for a system to be effective, there has to be an increase in reporting. However, when it comes to something like sexual assault, it's not just something that you can force out of people. It has to be something that the victims feel comfortable with sharing. You can see here how much of an impact Callisto is having in terms of increased reportings. People who use a service that they are comfortable with are 5 times more likely to report and 3 times as fast when it comes to reporting. This makes such a huge impact on the victim's willingness to come forward and report the actions of a sexual assault. When it comes down to it, the most important form of reporting is one that is comfortable for the victim. Thank you for listening to my presentation.